programs. This is a very unique scenario in which we are all working currently. Ideally, you need not have seen the virtual tour of our campus. You would have been in our campus this morning, and we would have been in our auditorium, and I would be addressing you face to face. But that situation is still maybe a couple of months away, and we are still doing these programs online. I'm extremely glad with the huge number of people who have joined and the response, the overwhelming response that we are getting to all these programs. In fact, this is the fourth ATAL faculty development program that we are conducting, if I am right. We had one on smart technologies and smart cities. We had one on AI. We did one on research methodologies, and this fourth one is on machine learning. So, of course, for machine learning, this is also the third time, if I am right, that we are doing a faculty development program in machine learning in the last 2 or 3 years. And always there is very good demand, very good response for any program in machine learning today. Right? That is the way the trend is going, and anything to do with data analytics, data science, machine learning, deep learning, AI, there is a huge demand and a huge hunger among faculty and among students to learn these areas. So it's extremely nice for us to be in a position where we have identified AI and ML as one of the focus areas for developing research and faculty in our institute. So as Dr. Sunil mentioned, we are a young institute, but we are an institute of national importance, and we have a very significant portion of our faculty focusing in these upcoming areas, or rejuvenated areas like machine learning and AI and data science and data analytics. So I'm just reminded of the first machine learning course that I took. Right? So it's hard to say which one it was, because 33 years ago, 1988, in IIT Bombay, we had a course on pattern recognition and machine intelligence, PAMI, right, as a famous journal also by that name. So pattern recognition, is that really machine learning? Right? A lot of what we learned in that subject way back 32 years ago in IIT Bombay is today under the curriculum or syllabus of machine learning. Right? So a lot of the techniques that we learned, or sometimes it is called data mining, sometimes machine learning. Formally, a course by the name machine learning itself, I took in from 31 years ago, and that was.
Participants are requested to please mute their mic. Participants. Yes, sir. Now we can go ahead, I guess.
Yeah. So I was just saying, 31 years ago, when I was doing my PhD in Georgia Tech, I took the first course in machine learning. And machine learning in 1989 was considered as an advanced AI course. So we had a course in AI, and after you complete the course in AI, you took as an elective or as an advanced course a course in machine learning. And what was taught in machine learning 31 or 32 years ago, only some of it is now called machine learning. Right? That was mostly rule-based machine learning, explanation learning, and so on, which was considered more of a knowledge-based approach to machine learning. Today, that has changed significantly, right? So mostly what we call ML today is a data intensive approach. Right? It has this. Why has that changed? Because in those days we did not have the kind of computing power that we have today. Right? So it wouldn't have been possible to run your ML algorithms on huge data sets in those days the way we are able to do it today. I think technologically that is the key enabler. Not only that, even data was not so available. So this whole statistics or data focused approaches to ML were not well developed at that time. Of course, neural nets were tried, and there was famous paper by Minsky and Papert from MIT who showed that they are not good enough because they cannot learn even a simple concept like exclusive OR. And because of that, the neural network research had been killed for a decade or two. Now it has all come back in a big way, right? And one of the reasons, as I said, is the computing power. The other is newer algorithms that we have so that these same networks can learn better. Right? So whether you are talking about deep learning, neural net, or some of the other techniques that you are going to go through and learn throughout this week, they are all heavily focused on processing large amounts of data. So why is that an advantage or a problem? That is something you need to keep in your mind as you go through the various sessions this week. So the only example that we have in nature of a learning entity is the human being, and to some extent animals also. Right? You can also teach a dog to sit down or to fetch a newspaper or wag its tail or give you a handshake and so on. But that's very limited, right? The kinds of advanced learning abilities that we want to achieve in machines is only been available in human beings. Now, of course, human beings are extremely good at learning. A child from birth to age about 2 or 3 years learns so many things. No robot, no agent, no intelligent agent, no ML program has demonstrated comparable learning capability. Now, how exactly do humans learn? Right? We have really no idea. And that's maybe a little unfair to say so to all the research done in psychology and brain research and cognitive sciences and so on. But we have a very limited understanding of how we learn. For example, learning language is a very unique ability of humans. In fact, that is what distinguishes us from other animals. Right? And how exactly do children do that? Is it innate? Is it not innate? It is simply learned by listening to parents and others in the environment. That is not clear at all. And to some extent, it is believed that ability to learn language is innate, not any particular language. We are not born hard coded with our mother tongue. It is not genetic because it has been established repeatedly that any human baby can learn any language as mother tongue, depending on where they are, where the environment in which they grow up. So there have been cases of identical twins where both were adopted in different countries and they grow up learning those languages of that region as their mother tongue. So we are not, this learning ability is not hard coded with respect to any particular language, but we do seem to have a learning ability that is innate in us. Innate means inborn. Before we are born, we already have the ability to learn things. And that ability is something we're unable to give to machines because we still don't know how that works. If we knew that, if we knew the algorithm for that, we would be able to encode that, give that to a machine or build a hardware or wetware or whatever machine similar to that, then it would have a similar capability. Unfortunately, we don't know that. Just to give you one illustration of that, each of our machine learning programs today require lots and lots of training data, whether it is supervised or unsupervised. Right? They have to go through thousands and millions of trials before they are able to converge and learn some concept or acquire some ability to classify or to make a decision and so on. Whereas if you see the number of times a child listens to a particular word or sentence or aspect of the grammar of that language, it is very small. It is maybe tens or less than 10 or less than 100 times at most. And the child is able to learn that. Not just some special children, all children, all human babies, all of us have that ability. Right? So that learning ability is not yet understood. So the learning ability that is there in human learning, we really don't have a clue how that works, at least in the sense of being able to articulate it as an algorithm that we can encode in a program or in a piece of hardware, firmware, whatever. So therefore, we are only left with a whole bunch of mathematical techniques that we call ML today, right? Whether it is supervised learning or unsupervised learning. You will go through, you will learn about a lot of them over the next 5 days. And all of them are purely mathematical techniques. They are not at all like how humans learn, but nevertheless, they have been extremely effective in the sense they can learn various capabilities and perform useful tasks for us. A very simple example, you may not see that as even as an application of machine learning, is spam filtering. Right? So these days, how many times do you actually go and check the spam folder in your email system, such as Gmail? Right? I never do because I have started trusting the Gmail spam filter. It is doing such a good job that, okay, sometimes I may get a spam mail into my primary inbox, but rarely ever I need to go to the spam folder and verify whether Gmail's classification of incoming mail into spam and non-spam, whether it is accurate or not. It is so accurate that I start trusting it. So it has saved me time. I don't need to read all the spam mail. And maybe from other security aspects also, that's a good idea that spam mail automatically gets classified. Now that is an ML program and it is learning continuously, not only from my inbox and my behavior, but also from collaboratively from all other users of that email system. So that is a practical day-to-day application of ML, which is working behind the scenes, which is using lots and lots of data. It also has many rules, probably, right? We don't know the exact algorithm used by Gmail spam filtering, but it's a very practical example of what we call a binary classification problem, right? So an mail comes into my inbox. Should it be considered a valid inbox mail or should it be pushed to the spam folder? Strictly, it is not binary anymore because in the case of Gmail, they are also further classifying it into primary and social and promotion and so on, and also sometimes into important and not important, starred, not starred. So it is multiple ways of classifying the incoming mail. So there is an example of an ML program which is working behind the scenes, learning continuously, improving its accuracy of classification and thereby making our lives easier. Right? That is the way ML systems are working. Similarly, there are many in e-commerce, recommendation, many areas, there are ML programs already working behind the scenes and doing things for us. Right? So today we have routes being told to us by programs and a lot of things in our lives, including attempts to drive cars and so on, have been working. ML is working. In some cases, they have already caused damage as well. Right? There have been at least two airplane crashes that are attributed to machines taking over and overriding the decisions of the pilot. Right? Those Boeing planes which crashed in Indonesia and somewhere in that region twice, all of them, in those cases, it was the program, right, a machine trying to overcorrect, and because of that, the pilot's control of the plane was lost and the plane crashed. So the ML has already killed people as well, right? It is not just in some science fiction that these the life and death situations can occur. So whenever we employ, of course, getting a spam mail or not getting one may not kill somebody, but there are other situations where there can be dangerous consequences and life and death situations as well. So therefore, accuracy of these ML programs, whether they're doing classification or performing some other decision, it is very important to improve that accuracy. And that is why there is so much focus, and it is so fundamental. The techniques are so broadly applicable. It is like a layer of mathematics now, right? So it is not specific to any particular domain, and that is why there is so much interest in healthcare, in agriculture, in manufacturing, in services like the travel industry and transportation, logistics, supply chain management. You name it, in all areas, AI and ML are being talked about, and resources management, e-governance, right? In all areas, ML is applicable, and in fact, AI and ML are becoming more or less synonymous today. Right? So, does it mean that we have really achieved the original objectives of AI? Are these systems truly intelligent? So, the current definition of AI is artificial intelligence is a system that can do a task at which humans are currently better. Right? So, for example, maintaining the Aadhaar database is not an AI task because humans are not good at it. We are not good at maintaining large databases or storing and retrieving large amounts of data. But we are very good at recognition. We are very good at intuition, common sense, all these things. Right? So even if I see a person 25 years later, just by looking at the face for 1 or 2 seconds, I can recognize the person. So that kind of face recognition ability is only now coming into machines. And therefore, face recognition, if a machine can do face recognition, then it is an AI system. And largely, it is doing that by applying machine learning techniques. So AI and ML are becoming synonymous. Of course, there are still areas and applications where knowledge-based and rule-based and other approaches to AI, logical reasoning and so on, are still effective. But the current trend is all about data-focused approach, large scale, right? I would just want to make two other points before I hand it back to Dr. Sunil. The first point is, right, what are the kinds of problems that ML has not been able to solve? It has not been able to solve problems where the problem itself is not well defined. For example, I would consider it a complete success the day we can replace a personal secretary, let us say, by a ML program or AI program. Right? Currently, it is not able to do that. Right? There have been many attempts to. There is a famous robotic receptionist at the computer science department in Carnegie Mellon University, CMU. You can go and watch this video on YouTube. But those are only demonstrations. We are still not able to build programs which can carry out a wide variety of tasks that the kind of which a human and average or above average human with some education and training is able to perform. So since we are not able to do that, it is not yet successful. Similarly, in health care and elderly care and so on, there is a lot of need today to have a machine which can assist them without compromising their safety and health and security and so on. That has not been successful. Many attempts are being made to build a companion, a robotic companion which can manage the household and help them with household work and so on. But that is not been able to do because it is not able to learn everything about its environment. The basic problem of learning something as simple as a cup, right? What is a cup? Okay, so now this is a cup. Now, a cup, you can say has a handle and container in which a liquid can be contained. But that's not the only kind of cup. There are thousands of different shapes of cup, right? So this one is also a container. It can hold liquid. It is not doesn't have a handle. We don't call this a cup, right? We call this a bottle or a flask. So these kinds of things. The problem is if you are try to apply ML to learn those concepts, there are always problematic cases, like a flower vase or a pen stand, right? So technically, you can define a cup as an object of ergonomic compatibility having an upward concavity. So essentially, it has an upward concavity, so it can hold a liquid, and it is of a size suitable for human beings to pick up and hold them. That is ergonomic compatibility. So this kind of a definition we can write, but that is not useful for a machine learning, an autonomous agent to learn that and figure out which are the dirty cups in the house that need washing and which are flower vases, flower pots, pen stands, and various other things which are not cups. So that is where ML is not yet overcome such a barrier. The other point is a lot of things are being called ML. So I'm sure you will learn a lot about clustering, classification, regression, various other methods of doing machine learning. But I want to pose a problem to you. I will not answer this. I want you to think about this during the week and have discussions and deliberations about this, and maybe you will come up with the right answer yourself. The problem is this, right? You will learn a clustering algorithm called K-means. K-means algorithm is a famous clustering algorithm. I'm sure somebody will cover that in one of the sessions. And K-means is considered an ML algorithm. In the sense, at least it is included in the syllabus of every machine learning course. Right? Now, what exactly does K-means do? In my view, it is only doing geometric sorting of data points. For example, if you have two-dimensional data, then the data points are in an XY plane, and all K-means does is it sorts them with respect to the distance of each point from a nearby centroid. So you identify the centroids, and then you sort the points as based on their increasing distance from the nearest centroid. That is all it does. Right? It's very useful. I'm not saying it is useless. It's extremely useful. In fact, in one of our projects, we started with K-means, and K-means itself was, we gave it IPL data from cricket matches, all the IPL matches, and it was able to accurately group Virat Kohli and Virender Sehwag together and Rahul Dravid in a different cluster, right, based on their performance and so on, right. We know that the style of batting, although they are all successful, the style of batting of Rahul Dravid is very different from that of a Virat Kohli or a Rohit Sharma or a Virender Sehwag, and it was able to do that classification properly. So it has abilities, it has use, but my point is, if the sorting algorithm of that kind is considered machine learning, why not all the sorting algorithms? Should we say then bubble sort, quick sort, merge sort are also machine learning algorithms? So the basic question I am asking is, how do we say what is ML, what is not? Right? You are going to acquire a toolkit. You are going to learn about a lot of tools, techniques, algorithms over this week. When do they become machine learning ones, and when are they regular CS algorithms, not machine learning? So if geometric sorting of points on a plane or in higher dimension is considered ML, that is the K-means algorithm, why not bubble sort, quick sort, and merge sort? That is the question I want to leave you with. And I just want to conclude by saying that once again, I welcome all of you to this 1 week program. As I said, I'm very glad that we have been arranging and very successfully organizing a series of these ATAL FDP. And I want to, each one of you, I urge you to take this seriously, attend each and every session, participate, and learn from this workshop. I'm sure it will go a long way whether you are only interested in teaching an ML related subject or in carrying out research and development in this area, I'm sure that this will go a long way. And once again, I congratulate Dr. Sunil Soumya and others from our faculty for organizing this workshop. Welcome you all. If there is anything we can do to make this FDP more effective during this week, please let us know. And I think very soon in the future, hopefully you can all visit our campus and we can have another workshop where we can meet face to face. A very good morning and thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your inspiring ideas on machine learning. And we will try our best to improve our understanding on machine learning, as we have the understanding till now that we are trying to mimic how the human learning works. Like you had given the example that a baby can learn anything, at least in the mother tongue, wherever they he or she lives, like in that environment. So she or he can learn anything, any language, right? But as a machine, to learn a small thing also, we need a lot of data, right? But in reality, the grammar is not that much difficult, not that much complex, and not that much big. So definitely we have a little understanding. We do not have a understanding that how human brains or any baby learn, but we have some that understanding on how the machine learning works and how the machine learning learns from the data. What our job is, how to make the complexity as less as possible. And that's what with this FDP will try to understand the basics of the machine learning, and then in the way of the optimizing the parameter such that we can reduce the complexity of the model. We will definitely work on that one so that we can achieve best output in research. Thank you so much, sir, once again for joining and giving good ideas to all of us. Thank you so much. Now, with this, right, we would go forward, and I'd like to call our registrar, sir. He was available. I don't know where he, right now he's not there in the meeting anyway. So we'll go forward now. What we'll do is I'll give you the overview of the planned sessions in this 5 days FDP. And for that one, I'd like to present my screen again. First, I'll give you the overview, then how we will go in this 5 days workshop, which session will be handled by which professor, and then when we will do, one second. Yeah, this one. Okay, so this is the schedule. I have already forwarded this schedule to all of you, and let me just explain you in detail that what we are going to do. So we have started with our inaugurals and keynote address by our director, IIIT Dharwad, Professor Kavi Mahesh. Now, next session will be taken by me, like Sunil Soumya, IIIT Dharwad, where I will be explaining you, I will be giving you the idea of the machine learning, right? All the introductory part of the machine learning, I'm going to take that session. And then in this particular session, I'll explain you the working principle of the machine learning, then different variants of the machine learning, as the directors are mentioning that we have supervised, unsupervised, and then we have something called as reinforcement learning also, although we are not covering the reinforcement in this FDP. But we'll try to cover many algorithms from the supervised and unsupervised categories. Right. So to start with that, in the supervised, we have regression, classification. So we'll try to see everything in a series. For example, in the afternoon session, we'll see the regression. First of all, we'll see that suppose how do we do the regression analysis? Regression in the sense that suppose we want to know the price of any house. Okay, we want to buy any house and we want to know what is the price of that house based on the locality, based on the area coverage, right? Based on whether it is on the top floor, ground floor, or somewhere, and based on different parameters, then how to find what is the price of that particular house. Okay, so that predicting something based on the given features is what the machine learning is doing. But then again, when it is called as regression, when it is called as classification, that we have to understand, right? So in the regression analysis, we'll understand what is the idea behind the regression. Okay, we'll take Dr. Ramesh Ate from IIIT Dharwad. He will explain us how exactly the regression analysis works, what are the features we have to, we need to extract, and what are the different parameters. Say what are the what is the loss function, what is the maybe the for the back propagation, what is the optimization parameter. So some of the things will be discussed by the Dr. Ramesh Ate in our third session of today's, which is on regression analysis. Then tomorrow, when we'll start our first session, that will be on clustering and its application. As sir was mentioning, the question what he has given to us, that was very important, that although we say the k-means, which is one of the most popular algorithms in an unsupervised category of machine learning, right, and which comes as a clustering algorithm, then how do we differentiate basically whether the k-means is actually a machine learning algorithm and not just a geometric sort of things what we are doing over there? Or we can say that how do we exactly differentiate whether a particular algorithm is a machine learning algorithm or it is just a mathematical model what we have. So we'll try to understand that one, what is the idea of the clustering and its some of the related applications tomorrow first session, which will be taken by Professor Durga Toshniwal and from IIT Roorkee. Then in the second session, we'll try to understand the classification. What is the concept of the classification, idea of the classification? Again, the classification comes in the supervised category of machine learning algorithm. So what are the different applications of the classification? One of the application was like as the Professor Kavi Mahesh was telling, that whether our mail, whatever we are receiving in our Gmail, whether that mail is a spam or not a spam. Now that is a classification based problem where every mail has to classify whether it is a spam or not a spam. Similarly, we have many applications of the classification. How exactly what is the idea behind the classification? What are the different algorithms we have in the classification? Then he will give some some mathematical background about some algorithms, how exactly the classification works in that case. So, and that session will be engaged by Dr. Arun Chauhan, IIIT Dharwad. Finally, what I have thought that do not give you only the theoretical things about the machine learning, right? And what I've thought that from tomorrow, when we will build some idea about the regression classification, then we'll start the hands-on. Okay, and the hands-on, what we will do is we will do the hands-on on the cloud. So everyone has the Gmail account, right? And all of you will use the Google Colab. Okay, so I'm not going to tell you anything to install on your local system. So what we'll do, we'll start with the Google Colab, which is a cloud space provided to all the Gmail users. So definitely you will also you can access that one, and there we'll start building the classification models tomorrow. And that session will be taken by again me. I will tomorrow what we'll see, we'll start with very basics. I'll take one sentence, right? We'll start with the text processing, and I'll take one sentence and I'll tell you what are the different features we can extract from that particular sentence. So first we'll try to understand what is the feature engineering, how to do the feature extraction, how to do the data pre-processing, what are the things we can do in the pre-processing, right? So that the first hands-on, we'll try to understand that one, and then we'll try to build a classification model, right? So after working on a particular sentence, a single sentence, we'll try to read a complete data set. Okay, we'll try to read a complete data set from CSV file, say. Then I'll tell you how exactly we can read the data from the CSV file, right? And then how to do the pre-processing on all of the data set together. Then how to extract the feature, how to prepare our inputs, and finally we will build the models. We'll build the models of the classification, like SVM model, like CNN, in the machine learning, logistic regression, decision tree, random forest. So I'll show you line by line, parameter by parameter. I'll explain each and everything, that how we can start our learning of building classification models. So that I will handle each and everything in the hands-on session 1, which is on building classification models, right? Then on third day, when we'll start with the deep learning concept. Okay, so in the machine learning, in the first 2 days, we'll learn about the machine learning, right? All the things about the machine learning. But in the third day, we'll start with the deep learning. So the first session on introduction to deep learning will be taken by Dr. Jyoti Prakash Singh from National Institute of Technology, Patna. Right, and then he will explain us the minute thing, that how the machine learning and deep learning are different, on what parameter, on what basis we are telling they are two different things, although they belong to the same family, right? But we say some of the models are deep learning. Why exactly we say that one? Okay, what is the working principle of the deep learning, right? So those are the things will be the Dr. Jyoti Prakash Singh will definitely explain us. Then in the second session, we will go more deeper, right? In the deep learning, we'll go again into deeper, and we'll start some special architecture of the deep learning, right? So as you can see here on the screen, in the second session, we'll start with the recurrent neural network. Fine, we have the deep learning, but in the deep learning, again, we have some special architectures. For example, for the sequence data, if we have the sentence, where in the sentence, all words are connected in a sequence. For example, we are in a FDP on machine learning. Now see, the first word is we, then the second word is are, and then in FDP on machine learning. So there are different words, but because we have connected them, all those words in a sequence, they are giving a meaning, isn't it? Suppose I will just shuffle these words. For example, machine, FDP on V, learning. Now, as a human being, we still try to figure it out, that what is the meaning of that sentence. But as a machine, the computer will never understand what exactly you want to say, because it is completely unstructured, right? So there are some special architecture which can read the sequential data very effectively. And recurrent neural network has really gained popularity in learning the sequential data like a sentence, sequential data like a stock market, like how the stock end, at what point it ends tomorrow, how it will open tomorrow, like, and many other things like weather forecasting, like time series data, and all these data are in a sequence. And in a sequence data, whenever we have the recurrent neural network are have very good performance. So we'll try to understand what is recurrent neural network, why it is very good at learning sequence data. So those things we'll try to understand. And if the time, I guess that session will be handled by Dr. Aditya Nigam from Indian Institute of Technology, Mandi. Right, and again in the afternoon session, as I promised you, I am going to tell you, I'm going to explain you the only hands-on, and then hands-on will be on third day. Our hands-on will be on building neural networks model. Okay, because we started on third day with the deep learning concept. So deep learning, again, it is related to the neural network models. So we'll try to start our hands-on the building neural networks model. Again, that session will be engaged by myself, right? And on fourth day, again, we'll learn one more architecture of the deep learning, which is called convolutional neural network for text classification, right? And that session will be taken by Dr. Pradeep Kumar Roy, Indian Institute of Technology, Indian Institute of Information Technology, Surat. Right, and there he will explain us why in some cases CNN works better than the RNN. Although we are working on the text data, which is a sequential data, but in some cases, CNN performs better. Why it performs better? What exactly the feature is it extracts from the data, when it is better than the RNN? I think those things will be handled by the Dr. Pradeep Kumar Rai in the first session of like fourth day. In the second session, as we were mentioning, right, that when we compare the human learning process with the machine learning process, like a human is capable of learning anything in their childhood, right? But the complexity what we have in the machine learning, because machine learning needs a lot of data. I mean, millions of data it requires to learn a thing. But human doesn't need a lot of data. It has a limited grammar, for example, a particular grammar of English or Hindi or Tamil or any other language, and then it learns. Just with that language, it can speak anything with a proper grammatical meaning and everything, right? But why the machine learning are so complex? Can we reduce the parameters of the machine learning in some way? So there is a role of optimizing features or optimization. Okay, there is a concept of the optimization, and that thing will be handled by Dr. B. Jayalakshmi, Indian Institute of Information Technology, Dharwad, where she will discuss how the swarm intelligence, which is a part of the optimization, works in the machine learning cases, and how it will be helpful in the machine learning cases, right? So that thing we'll see in the second session of our fourth day. And again, in the third session, we'll have the hands-on, where we'll build the CNN and RNN networks. Okay, we'll read the data, fine. Then we'll read the data, we'll do some pre-processing, and then we'll build the first CNN networks. And building CNN networks, that session will be taken by again Dr. Pradeep Kumar Roy, and maybe if the time permits, I will guide you how to build the recurrent neural networks. Fine. And in the final day, the fifth day of our FDP, we'll see the first session. I had life skill session, which is one of the mandatory session of any of the FDP in ATAL, and that will be handled by Mrs. Ramaya Raman, Master Trainer, Ramakrishna Math, Hyderabad. In the second session, we'll learn about the application of machine learning in cloud computing, which will be handled by Dr. Malay Kumar, Indian Institute of Information Technology, Dharwad. And finally, this is very important, in the last session of our FDP, last or third session of fifth day, we'll have the assessment and valedictory. Right, I'll tell you more about the assessment and valedictory. That in this FDP, whoever, all the participants who are approved the ATAL website, right, needs to write the assessment test, right, need to write the assessment and have to get at least 60% marks, right? For that one, it is very important for all of you to attend all the sessions, right, to understand the concept, and then write the assessment so that you can score 60 or more than 60%. Then only you will be eligible for the certificate, right? And I'll tell you more about that one. And then at the last, we'll have the valedictory session. So this is the detailed schedule of this 5 days at FDP on machine learning, computer science, and engineering. Now, okay. So now, before we begin our schedule, different sessions of our FDP, I'd like to make some announcement related to the FDP. Please listen to it very carefully, because it is very important for you, that all the participants are requested to attend all the sessions and strictly follow the guidelines given by ATAL. Second point is that certificate will be given only if a participant attends a minimum of 80% of the sessions. For example, that there are 3 sessions every day, and in 5 days we'll have 15 sessions. So just calculate how many sessions we need to have the attendance in the 80%, right? So then you have to attend the 80%, you should have the 80% attendance, right? And that is one of the criteria to get the certificate. The other criteria is you have to score some minimum 60% marks in the assessment. Okay, and then only if you will be eligible in both, then you will get the certificate, right? Third point is, it is also informed to all the participants that certificate of participation will be generated by ATAL portal. Okay, so the organizer cannot generate that one. The ATAL or as AICT will generate the your certificate at the end of the program after filling the feedback form. Okay, so on the fifth day, when all the sessions will be over, on the same day in the evening, you will find there is one feedback form in your login. When you will fill that feedback form, a certificate will be generated. Like, okay, a certificate will be generated, right? If you have got 60% marks in the assessment, and if you have 30% attendance, right? So you must all the sessions, you must fill the feedback form, and you will have to wait. That ATAL will take maybe 1 or 2 days for reviewing process. Then within 1 or 2 days, 3 days, or within a few days, they will generate the certificate, and it will be available in your login. Okay, so it will be not sent by organizer, because organizer does not have any control, right? The AICT will generate that one for you. We will upload your data on the portal, and accordingly they will generate the certificate for you. And the last important point is, although anyone, if interested, they can attend this FDP, but only those participants will get the certificate who has got approval on the ATAL portal. Right, I mentioned in the starting of this session that there are 300 applications, so we can approve only 200. We have done that one. So all of you who are participating, make sure that you are approved on the ATAL portal. Okay, and if you are not, then you will not get the certificate by the AICTE. That is only the thing. You can attend all the session. There is no problem with that, right? Okay. Participants are expected to join all the sessions 5 minutes before to the time given in the schedule, and presentation slides and videos will be made available based on the speaker consent, because sometimes what happens, the speaker doesn't agree to give the slides or to give to record the session, right? So in that case, we will not able to give you those resources. Otherwise, if they are agree with that, we will provide you all the materials we will be going through in this FDP. Now, with these words, I thank you all the registering participants in this FDP and attending the inaugural function as well. Once again, thank you all. Now it is 11 o'clock. So what we'll do is we will take a 15 minutes break. Although our scheduled session should begin at 11:30, but we'll begin at after 11:15 itself. So just take a 10 minutes break, 10 to 15 minutes break, and then we'll start with our second session and the first official session of this FDP, which is the introduction to the machine learning. Right? Thank you so much, all of you. Meanwhile, if you have any query, you have any question, you can ask me. Right, and then we'll begin the second session at 11:15. If you have any query, you can ask me. You can write that in the chat box. The attendance link, like there is no attendance link as such. So what happens that at the end of the session, if you have attended the session, automatically that the record that who and all have attended the session will come to the coordinator. So you don't have to bother about the attendance. You only have to bother about that you are in the session. Then your attendance will be captured automatically. Okay. So you don't have to fill any external form or link where you can mark your attendance. It will come to me automatically. Right. So any other question? And I have not received the Vishadna Devi Tiwari. Okay, sir, my registration ID number is not received. Okay, I'll just look. So I have, hopefully you are approved on the ATAL portal, right? So if you're not, just write me a mail. So yesterday or day before yesterday, I had sent you a mail. Please write to me there. I'll look into that one, whether you are approved at the ATAL portal or not. And then we'll can have more conversation on that one. Yeah, your email ID. So one more thing, that most of you are joining with different email ID, what you entered in the ATAL website, because I sent you the invitation with that email ID. Okay, and then most of the time I'm getting that participants from the outside the organization try to join. So please join with the email ID which you have given in the ATAL portal. If it is not, then also it is fine. It's not a problem. But only thing is, you will in the certificate, you will have only those details which you have entered in the ATAL website. Okay, so make sure that on the ATAL website your all details are correct. That is very important. Any other? Okay, approved for the current FDP, then there is no problem. Vivisha Aruna Devi Tiwari. So if you are approved and you are in the, then you will definitely get all the, I mean, certificate. You need to attend the session. That is only the requirement for now. Okay, unable to join the ATAL email due to some error. Okay, fine, no problem. Then I told you, as I told you, then there is no, if there is a problem with that, then I will be accepting your request on the Gmail, and you can attend the session, no problem, if there is a genuine problem, right? Yeah, please make sure that you, during the session, you turn off your mic and turn off your video. And at the end of the session, you will be given 5 to 10 minutes to interact with all the speakers, clear your doubt and everything. So during that, it would be better so that our session will not get disturbed. FDP link, I mean, to join the session, you are in the session, Aisha, Noreen. So I guess you have the link, right? So any other link you are talking, then please give a clarification on that. But you are in the session. You don't need the attendance link. The attendance will be captured automatically at the end of the session. You just have to be in the session. That is the required thing. So attendance link is not required to mark your attendance. It will be marked automatically if you are in the session. Other than the attendance, if you have any confusion, then you can ask me. Otherwise, we'll start at sharply 11:15, the second session of day 1, Introduction to Machine Learning. Yeah, Aisha, I like Aisha Noreen, as I have told you, that attendance link is not required. Your attendance will be marked automatically if you will be in that particular session. And sometimes it may happen that due to some internet issue and all, the speakers will be disconnected, they will be connected. So please have some patience. I mean, just make sure that you will be in the session itself. They will join again, definitely. So because we know that is the genuine problem with all of us, right? So it may happen. Right. So if you do not have any question, I'm just pausing for another 10 minutes, and then we'll sharply start at 11:15. Okay, and we'll start with our next session. I joined by my official mail ID instead of my ATAL mail ID. That is fine, Dr. Subramaniam. That is fine. But if it would be better that if you will join with your email, your ATAL email ID, that's better. But if there is some problem, you can join with any of the email ID. There is no problem with that, right? Okay. Any other like clarification on the FTP schedule, or then you can ask me. The attendance, again, I'm conveying this message to all the participants. The attendance link we will not provide to you, and you don't have to mark your attendance explicitly. It will be marked implicitly if you are in the session. So what is important is that you have to be present in the session. Okay, and the attendance will be marked automatically. 80% attendance is compulsory, so make sure that you are attending like all the sessions, and 60% marks in the assessment, which will happen in the last session of this FDP, 5th day, 3rd session. So getting securing 60% marks is like essential to get your certificate, and the certificate will be given to you by the AICTE. and like it will automatically come to your login and to your maybe to your email ID also by the AICT and not by the coordinator or the organizer of this FDP. Fine. So we will discuss if you have any other like issues related to the FDP and all. And as I will be available in all the sessions in all 5 days, right? So you can ask me, you can write me the mail also if you're having in trouble. We have one WhatsApp group also. If some of you have not joined, please join it, right? And we will be discussing if you will come across any issue. We'll be resolve those things, right? Now we'll take just 10 minutes break, as I said, and 11:15 we'll start with our second session with the introduction to machine learning. Thank you so much, all of you. Just stay tuned, stay connected. We'll be back. Okay. Thank you.